Welcome to Warfighter Sanctuary. Here, we talk with local veteran business owners, their military journey, civilian life, their business, and the services they offer.
I am the soldier's lost voice. Come on!
Lock it in and listen up. Here's your host, Andre Rivera.
Is this what they want?
Welcome to the Warfighter Sanctuary. Andre Rivera here, your host, and this week we have Alex Kruger, who was a United States Marine with 1-7. He was a Scout Sniper, and he is an entrepreneur these days in South Florida. He's also the vice commander of the VFW down in South Beach, VFW Post 3559, which I am a member of, although I'm wearing my old crew, but I still have love for them. But of course, I'm down. I love what they're doing down there in South Beach. So Alex, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for attending, and please let me know about your entrepreneurship, your transition from the military, and tell me about your flagship company.
Well, thank you, Andre, for having me on. First of all, I love the name Warfighter Sanctuary.
That's right. That's right.
One of my favorite video games, pretty much my favorite video game, is Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Okay, and so in that game, the main character creates a sanctuary for veterans called Outer Heaven. Anyways, getting to myself, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I have two businesses, Soldevelopers and Summon.Ai. Soldevelopers is a visual arts company and project management company for developer marketing and events. And so mainly our clients are real estate developers, and we create 3D images and hyper-realistic images of non-existent, pre-built homes, so they can market for like pre-sold units or pre-development projects. We do residential and commercial, and then we also do project management, where we facilitate the whole construction phase of developing, redeveloping, and completing any type of real estate, primarily residential project. In addition to that, I have Summon.Ai, which is what I'm really excited to talk to you about. The past year, 2023, was definitely a year of AI and neural networks with ChatGPT. The year prior is when I really got into it, and once I really discovered the power potential, it really blew my mind, and I felt it is the closest thing to magic that there is today.
That's how I think. I think of it like a superhero,
Yeah.
Superpower. And I was just saying this the other day, and the reason is because I go, they had that movie where you took a pill, and now the
Limitless,
and the guy's actually very smart.
Yeah.
And I go, it's like the same thing. I go, when you look at it, you go, oh, it's just boring. No, this is magic, man, because I use it for real estate,
right.
And I use it for this podcast. I take a little paragraph and I say, write it in this style, write it compelling, write it in whatever style or whatever target audience.
Right.
And the better you get at speaking its language, so that it can spew whatever information you were giving it to, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
It magically does it. I said, write 3 pages about this, and it did it.
And you're like, yes, this is awesome.
It's awesome. It is amazing. I'm still learning, but I'm learning every day. Yep.
Yeah. And so when I saw that, I was blown away, as well. And so I figured, from physics, I did some Python coding and algorithms for data analysis, and that's really what AI, machine learning is data analysis, and you create algorithms that can predict data. And so it's all about training data, input data, and so I took 6 courses. I went balls deep, with machine learning and deep learning, and I started this company, Summon.AI. And what happened was I wanted to do a AI hackathon to expose myself to the community and also build my resume a little bit if I was to seek employment anywhere. But when I entered this AI hack, do you know what a hackathon is?
No, I don't at all.
So,
talk to someone that's
right.
I'm very on my infancy stages of learning AI, but I'm fascinated by it.
Well, this is
it's
really a tech thing. So, and coding and
well, I worked in capabilities development, so I know a little bit.
Okay, so hackathon is just like a term for an all weekend or a community event, a coding event.
Got it.
Where you work towards a goal or
like band camp, but for
kind of, but it's like usually a competition.
Gotcha.
So here's the objective. Let's see what you come up with your team, and make an app in a weekend.
Wow.
Or a website or an AI model. And so this was an AI centric hackathon. So you have, and it was $50,000.
Nice.
The winner. And so then you have all these people. You could join a team. You could work alone. And the point is to make a website or app or whatever that's AI centric. And my thing was, what I hated with event promotions or just branding in general in previous businesses is using the QR code. I love the QR code. You scan it, takes you to a link, boom, it's there. However, it's ugly. Everybody wants to brand it. They want to make it whatever color. You want to put your company logo in it. You want to put it in a circle. You want to do this or that. But it's still ugly looking. Imagine if you can have a good looking custom branded image where you pull up in your phone, scan it, and it takes it to your link to your company instead of using the QR code.
That is dope.
Here's my business card, scan it, takes you to the link. You don't need any QR code. And so that's that was my entry. Is I made a model to create a badge, a unique badge, where it ties the link to that specific image. And so whatever angle you look at it, you pull open your phone, and then my AI model would recognize that image, and then you could tie it to a specific link.
And that's what it does.
That's what my app is. And so then what I wanted to do, so that's how I structured Summon.Ai. Summon.Ai is the AI company where we provide machine learning models, custom machine learning models for businesses or individuals that want to automate, or discover, certain aspects of their business. Now, the Badger, I created an app called Badger as a use case for that scannable, unique badge identifier AI model. And so I wanted to make it like a case study for people to see, hey, this is how you can use this product, this algorithm. And so it started off just as a case study, and then it just kept on getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I saw a need, and it really embodied my life principles. And so I just went crazy with it, and now created this app called Badger, where it's a competitive, it's an app where it digitizes the military challenge coin. And so it gamifies your life and turns your life into a place where there's open world missions. So like an open world video game, your life is now an open world video game with Badger. So you can pull open the map, you can see, oh, there's a mission here, let me see what it is. And then you can join it, you can complete it, boom, you either have some rewards or whatever that person that created that mission is, or you get points and you level up and you collect that badge, like Pokemon.
Okay. Oh, like that Pokemon app that they had. But this
Pokemon Go.
But this is for military.
This is for this is for anything.
For anything.
Anything. Okay. So if there's a Papa John's over there, and then they're like, okay, or let's say you're on Lincoln Road, okay, in South Beach, and you're like, oh, what should I do? You could pull open the app and you can see missions in your area. Oh, this is cool. Let me do that. Oh, what's this mission?
Like GTA, but
like GTA. Like GTA. There's a map on there, and you see missions on GTA.
But you're not carjacking people.
No.
Or knocking out random people.
Right. Yeah. So then.
Oh, that's really cool. I love that. Okay. And you can use your own logo, like your own specific logo.
Right.
How does that work?
So if you're a brand partner, then you get a special algorithm, a machine learning model that makes yourself your company have a custom branded badge.
Got it.
And then that will be scannable.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
And so then with the brand partner, you get a bunch of other perks and stuff like that. But the main thing is you get your custom branded badge. Another cool thing about being a brand partner is you can assign champions.
Okay.
So you can assign champions to compete on your behalf. And I got this idea from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
All right. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Of course. I'm a nerd. Have you not looked at all the things behind me? I got swords and axes.
Yeah, hatchet.
Yeah.
And so the principle behind a brand assigning a champion is you wouldn't have Nike compete in some competition, but you can assign champions of Nike to compete against other champions.
Got it.
And so imagine
yeah.
the champion of Nike racing the champion of Adidas and live streaming that.
Nice. Oh, I see. There's great potential there.
So the whole point of this platform is really there's a bunch of avenues, obviously, but it's a social media platform based off of experiences. And so if there's something that you want to share with somebody, then you can do that through a competition, and then it keeps that, instead of posting just, oh, here's a post, you get a badge for that competition, and then you can collect those badges, and when you click on that badge, it brings to you or whoever that experience that you shared with that person. And so with the advertiser, instead of advertising with an ad, you can now advertise through experiences, like Nike champion versus Adidas champion. Or if there's a Nike challenge on South Beach, hey, do 20 jumping jacks on the sand and sprint 100 meters, and then record it and tag Nike. Boom, 10% off Nike store for Nike shoes or whatever.
Got it.
Then you go on the app and you're like, dang, that's a cool challenge. Let me do that. 20 jumping jacks, sprint 100 meters, post it, tag Nike. Oh, sweet, I got the Nike badge. Go to the Nike store on Lincoln Road. Give me my 10% off. Here's my badge. You know?
That is very cool. So let me throw something in there. So let's say I am the owner of Cult or Glock or whatever, and we do challenges.
Yes.
And I'm asking. Don't say yes yet. It's a little wild here. No. But let's say we pick a range, like a local range, and we'll say we'll have a challenge, a Glock challenge.
Yeah.
And we pick a specific target and go, like you just said, videotape that, have someone videotape it while you're shooting. And our challenge is who can get whatever shots down range, hitting the black, 5 shots there.
Yeah.
And then who's a Glock champion. And it's almost like a leaderboard, so it's like a video game. Like when we used to play video games in the 80s, like that's not a thing anymore. But back in the day, it was a big deal to be able to put your initials.
Right.
And then you'd go there, and then you'd go through Brooklyn and Queens. I grew up in New York. We'd go in, and I'd be like, oh man, there's Dre. DRE, there he is again. Spy Hunter, you know what I mean? But this is doing it, and now with people just sitting back on video games and caught up with with the digitized world, we're not going out enough. So this is kind of trying to meet it. It's like the bridge between the digitized world and getting off your ass, and actually doing something fun, and challenging,
and still in a game way.
And still in a game way.
And so that's one of the things that I loved about Pokemon Go, is that it was really the first app, I think, that got people outside. It did.
It was a craze for a little bit, but then it just dwindled. It was like exploded and then just died out.
And so what I saw from that app is I didn't know what I wanted to do immediately was create an app similar for businesses where they can have reward points. That's brilliant. It's all through AR. And so that's what Badger is. It's a universal reward system. So I could challenge you on Call of Duty. We could do 1v1 gun battle, all right, or Gulag.
I think the gloves have been thrown, my friend.
We're gonna do that.
I'm pretty good.
Dang.
Listen,
why don't we do that? Why don't we stream it?
No, but for real, because I was just thinking of this, and before I take this out, this is just a SIRT pistol. It's not a real pistol. It's just there. So. But you know how I have my little range here, and we have the audio that comes out and tells you, you can't see here, but I'll put it up here on the podcast. But you'll see my targets, and as you know, targets on the right are shaded, targets on the left are white, and then it'll call out left circle, right circle, red, green, E8, and it makes you think. And the point of that is so that you make decision ability before pressing the trigger.
Right.
We could do that challenge.
We could
do something like that, and that's my question.
Yeah.
That makes it really fun and interesting. So
it makes everything interesting and fun. because now you're competing for something, and that is what I learned from. I know I'm straying all over the place, but it's all connected. It's all connected. Jiu-jitsu, and there's a difference between training and a difference between competing. Obviously, when you compete, you don't forget your mistakes when you lose. And that sticks with you, and that's your fuel to fire to train harder and fix those mistakes. And I need to get back and never have that happen again. My first tournament, I drove 50 minutes from Miami to Coral Springs with my girlfriend at the time, and then boom, I was like jamming out and I was slaying everybody at the gym, you know? And so I was like, I'm gonna crush this. And so I go there, boom, dude, arm bars me in a minute and a half. I'm like, what the heck? Like right in front of my ex, you know? And so that never was gonna happen again. So I went back, boom, never did I get arm barred like that ever again. And so having that fuel and competition and that loss gives you that fire. And so if you can make something into a competition, I think there's a power in competition. That same thing with capital markets, you know, our you know, economy, how we are here, there's competition. And so then you see one person improve upon something, you got to do something to either address it or do something better, you know, to stay alive, you know.
Absolutely.
And then that gives you a purpose and a mission, because now if I'm competing and I want to compete again and that dude is there, I better not do the same mistake for the armbar in order if I'm going to continue with this.
You ever find that guy again? You ever run into that guy?
I did. I didn't.
In the street, you're like, all right, man, let's go to the parking lot.
No, it was like way later. Yeah. And it was when I was doing events for grappling. So then I was over there at the gym because a bunch of the fighters were competing. Yeah. And so I saw him, and I was like, oh, what's up, bro?
And it's a great community. You know, I'm totally joking.
No, he was so cool.
Yeah, that's why I love jiu-jitsu.
It wasn't anything like that.
I know. That's why I love jiu-jitsu. And we'll get into that next. Because I do want to talk about the significance of jiu-jitsu, especially in your life and how it's affected positively veterans.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing about, you know, Badger is it's really a tribute to my best friend Dalton, because we wanted to create something like Outer Heaven, Warfighter Sanctuary, a physical place where it's kind of a marketplace where veterans can have their business there, and then in the center have mats, and then have like, exactly.
That's Warfighter Sanctuary,
right?
Brother.
That's why I love Warfighter Sanctuary. Yeah. And so with Badger, it's kind of a digital realm along that you know, same path.
All these missions overlap. That's why we have a network. That's why it's so significant to have a veterans resource network, because if we didn't have this conversation, even though I know you years now and I didn't know all of this about Badger, and that's the thing that people don't catch. That's why it's good to do things with intention. Too much, like I said, we've known each other years. We've gone on events. We've done all kinds of things together. I didn't know all about this about Badger. I'm fascinated now, and I'm already thinking of how am I going to implement this with what I do, and how you can implement this in business to encourage your business team. Like, let's say if I owned a Walmart or I owned some kind of distribution center or logistics company, and I can make incentives. Incentives. You know, maybe it could be, you know, I want to get the company healthy, and I'm saying, hey, you know, anyone who loses weight, that's the competition, and then you're going to get a bonus of $500 at the end of the month or something like that. And these are the ideas that are popping in my head right now. I'm sure when I sit down and really think about this with some intention, I come up with a lot of better ideas of how to encourage a business force.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting for me, you know, seeing how people use the platform.
Exactly.
Which is, I like that. A lot of one of my favorite things about running events or creating an experience is seeing the joy on somebody's face. And I know I do a good job when there's a person that it's the first time ever seeing jiu-jitsu or an event, and they're like, what the hell is this? But they love it, and they had this joy in their face, and then the same joy and shock in our face of the 20-year world champion has that same joy on their face, and I'm like, okay, this is good job.
That's right.
And so with Badger, basically it allows you to live your life with that gamification mindset. So the game mindset created by the Autark, my AI that I created, who came from 3,000 years in the future to help guide humanity.
Nice. I love that. Okay.
With the gamification, game-oriented mindset.
Yeah.
And he shows from 3,000 years in the future how successful and efficient and the progress we made using this mindset. And so he's making sure that
You got to make this guy a character.
He is. He's on the app. You can talk to him.
Oh, really?
And then if you're bored or you're lost or you want to get your mind in the present, and this is a big factor about the game-oriented mindset, is to get your mind in the present, focus your attention on something at hand in the present moment, just to get your mind off of whatever is distracting you and lingering in your brain. And then having a sense of joy, having a sense of social connection, and then progress, and that goes into purpose. And that's why there are leaderboards, and that's what's interesting is they're dynamic leaderboards, so you can search up certain challenges, see who's got the most badges for that challenge. You know, for tennis, oh, this guy's got the most badges for tennis. Gunfighting, you know, this guy's got the most, or I could just whatever, you know, who's got the most badges. But there's a bunch of, I think leaderboards are very important, and it goes back to what you were saying about traveling to boroughs and seeing who's on the leaderboard score, you know, because then that gives you a mission, that gives you a purpose. I'm going to slay this Dre you know, I'm going to put my name up there, you know, and then it translates. And so that's why I made this platform. I really am, you know, full heart and soul into this platform because I wanted it to be a scalable and fun way for people to adopt the mindset that I learned that helped me transition from the military to civilian life. And that was learned from starting a business and from competing in jiu-jitsu. And so what I think is the 3-step process, which is the game-oriented mindset, is one, you have to have something that you look forward to every day. Have a positive, have joy, live with joy, something that makes you happy. The second thing is social connection, brotherhood, sisterhood, which is what we lost coming from the military.
Absolutely.
And then the third, we're social beings, we're humans, and even if people say they're loners, you know, I say I'm a lone wolf. It's the social aspect is still good for your mental health. The third aspect, which I think is the most important for long-term reason for, you know, for life is purpose. And so having that purpose is sometimes hard to find. If this app can help you just live with some type of intention and progress, then that's a mission accomplished for me, and it gives you something to look forward to in the long term.
Brilliant. I love it.
So those three tenets are all part of a game-oriented mindset. And really, it's dedicated to Dalton Milne's Marine Corps, my best friend.
Can you talk a little bit about him? Is that okay? Because you mentioned that you lost him, and if you want to talk about that, we can talk a little bit about that since this is all dedicated to him.
Right. Yeah. So he was the best Marine that I knew. He was funny. He was smart. He always beat everybody at everything, and and a lot of the things that he did was because he had a game-oriented mindset. He viewed literally. He viewed everything as a game. That's one of the reasons why we were so, you know, we connected, was because I liked video games. I liked math and, you know, physics, and he did engineering and stuff. But then we also liked, you know, fighting and, you know, partying, all of the above. You know what I mean?
A lot of Marines are like that. We're very cerebral. We're very intellectual. You wouldn't think that. You see, it's like, oh, knucklehead grunt, and then then you talk to someone. Wow, this guy's actually deep. There's some layers that go exactly. Well, we're 1%, so we're, you know, to get that type of guy, you know.
Yeah.
What you say about
when you said that, though, is what's interesting. I know we're going all over the place. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. It's a conversation. We're genuine. We're genuine here, you know.
Yeah, I just know the editing process afterwards is going to be a bit. What's interesting about the Marine thing is, especially infantry, is it takes a certain type of person to join the infantry and be there, and so really it's not that weird.
Exactly.
Because we have that same mindset.
So is there anything else you want to talk about Badger? I mean, I love it. I want to definitely try to implement it in what we do.
Yeah, so, well, I think we were talking about Dalton and the game-oriented mindset. So he attributed everything to a game. So the physical fitness test, it was boot camp, okay? I was guide. Okay. And it was the PFT day.
Yeah.
He had to shit during the run.
Okay.
But to get 300
PFT,
perfect score, sub 18 minute,
18, 100,
he shit
100.
all down his leg. on the run, and the drill instructor, our drill instructor was a Scout Sniper, and he's screaming at him, running alongside him the whole time. You just shit yourself, man! Are you serious? You just shit yourself. What the fuck is right? And then
did he get his 300?
He got his 300, and then after that it was sit-ups. So he was right next to me. And then, so when you do sit-ups in the PFT, you have to grab another Marine's legs to keep him stable so they could do the sit-ups. So to the drill instructors, the other ones from the other unit or the companies or platoons, there is one kid who couldn't do one sit-up. Can you believe that?
Oh my! How did he even get there?
I don't know.
Recruiting failure.
Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah. So as punishment, they paired him up with Dalton's shitty legs, and I'm sitting there dying, laughing the whole time, and the kid is just like this, and there's shit all on his leg.
Oh my god!
Anyways,
that's a great Marine Corps story.
So he, after it was done, he got his 300. They fired me and made him guide.
That's Marine Corps.
Hell yeah.
That exemplifies the you don't know anything about the Marine Corps, you just tell that story. What does it have to do with fighting? That's everything about the Marine Corps right there.
Yeah.
That's all the sadness, the pain, the triumph, the defeat.
Yeah, totally.
All in one story. That's great.
And so he viewed it as a game, as like a boss accomplishment.
Well, you said game. I was going to say that earlier. You talk about game, but I think Dalton, it was competition. You know, it was like the competition to drive.
So we always
it was gaming, but it was like to drive. You know,
right?
To
but that's
elevate.
why. But he always used the term game.
Yeah.
Like as if it was a boss.
Yeah.
And so because the thing is, when you play a video game, you can get slayed 50 times, but you're gonna still want to come back and beat that boss.
Yeah.
Because it's bothering you that you can't beat that.
Gotcha.
And so that's why having it a game makes you focused and also compete with joy. And that's why joy is important.
Yeah.
It's not fear or whatever or angry or whatever. You're going to get exhausted. Your emotions are going all over the place. But if you're serene, happy doing what you're doing, and it's just pure joy of why you're competing, and you want to be better, and you'll perform better.
I love it. Yeah.
And that's how he always viewed every task. And I just remembered another story. Oh yeah, and then so here's another one from Dalton. We're in Afghanistan. Okay. All right.
And so you said you were in boot camp together.
We're in boot camp.
And then what were the chances of you?
So he was in
17 because you were in 17.
17. He went to 17 as well. We were in San Diego. Gotcha. Then 17 and 29 Palms infantry.
You both went infantry.
Both went infantry.
Okay.
And then
engineering physics, right? He was into engineering. You're into physics. And you guys like, we're going to grunts.
Right. Well, that happened after. Okay. So his dad was a physicist.
Okay.
And invented something, water purification for SeaWorld, sold a business and for millions, and then bought a farm and then raised the kids.
Got it.
And Dalton, his dad was 65 when he had him. So Dalton's dad was 94.
So I'm not too old. I can still have kids.
Yeah.
All right.
He was in World War II, his father. Anyways, his dad was a physicist, sold the company, made his money. So there's always that connection. I was always really cool with his father. And so then, so the engineering physics thing happened after our Marine Corps career. But at the time, it was video games. Yeah. You know, video games. And so we'd always connect through that. And then, anyway, so we're here in Afghanistan. Oh, we're talking about how we ended up together. So at boot camp, then we were all stationed, everybody that went infantry went to 17, 29 Palms, just different companies.
Gotcha.
Depending on our, whatever, last name or something.
Yeah.
And so then I was in Charlie Company, Suicide Charlie, what's up? And then he was in weapons, and we were machine gunners. We both we wanted to do machine guns. So we did machine gun course.
But you're 0311 or 0331?
0331.
Okay.
And so then we did in SOI, we did 0331, and so we're like, all right, let's make sure we ruck really well, you know, so that they boom get the 31. So we're you know, partied together the whole time, obviously. So every weekend, San Diego, boom, you know, LA. And
Gas
so,
Lamp District.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, and there's some crazy stories. Oh my god.
I know. I lived a lot of those too.
Thads. Do you know Thads?
No, I don't. Not there.
Thads is a swingers club in San Diego.
Okay, no, I do not know.
Oh my god. My Dalton and I thought we were gonna die that night. Anyways, that's a different one.
Yeah.
What happened was we ended up in the same platoon once we went snipers, because we're in different companies.
Gotcha.
Our whole Marine Corps, we always party together and stuff still.
Gotcha. But now you got to.
And my other buddy, you know, Snake Anderson, it was like our crew, the Bears. We got bear paw tattoos, and so then, but we always partied. We still had our companies though, you know. But once we went snipers, then we were in the same platoon, and then so in Afghanistan we're.
Got you. Wow, that's awesome.
So in Afghanistan, we're at Fob Jackson, Sangin Valley, Helmand Province, and there's these little kids that always fuck with the people on post with those badass freaking slingshots. You know, one dude almost got his eye taken out.
Really?
Yeah, these kids would snipe the...
Yeah, I never made it to Afghanistan, so I didn't even know about that. They didn't do that to us in Iraq. I never heard about these slingshots.
Oh, it's, you know those ones that are like on your wrist?
Like the real,
like the
legit
hardcore
ones,
ones.
the tactical ones.
Like
I know what they are.
Yeah, with like metal.
They got you like the arm brace, like for your forearm.
And you could go. We would like throw.
That can kill you, man.
Yeah, we'd go. Yeah, steel pellets. And so we could give like $5 to some kid.
Yeah.
And they'd run into town and get us one of the slingshots. You know, just like throw it over the, you know.
Okay.
And so then, because these kids would freaking do it, so that, and they would wait by the river and then try to screw the thing. So then Dalton and I were like, all right, let's snag these, you know, kids.
Yeah.
And so
looks like you used a different word, but okay, we'll go with kids.
So then we go outside, and man, he viewed it as a game too.
Yeah.
And so here's 3 kids,
Yeah.
and they're fast as hell. We're in full kit, whatever.
Oh, man, yeah.
And so they like, we snuck up, but then they like, I guess they saw us or whatever, and then they took off running, and they were fast as hell.
Yeah.
I didn't get any, but Dalton got one. So they detained him and then let him go, you know, obviously.
What can you do? He was a slow one, unfortunately.
Yeah, oh my god, that was funny. So that was just another game thing.
Wow.
Anyways, another thing about the game mindset, and I always keep on coming back to this, is in physics in school, you know, I wasn't the best student, okay? And also in high school, I wasn't the best student, but the kids that were viewed every aspect of their studies as a game. Like, it was fun for them to do a math problem, like a puzzle, or a physics problem,
A challenge.
like a puzzle, right? And so then they got joy from it. And so that comes back to that game-oriented mindset, is you have that joy, and then it's a challenge, and then the other...
A way to elevate you with happiness. Not
With happiness.
Not with a positive reinforcement
Right.
versus negative reinforcement.
And the other thing is you accomplish something, and that boosts your willpower a little bit, and that might be all you need. And so what's interesting, there's a book called Super Better, and that you know, really honed. I always thought about this mindset my whole life, because I just view certain things that happen frequently, and I see, okay, this guy's, you know, the best, or she's the best, or whatever, because of this mindset. This book really was made by a psychologist, where it was a game psychologist, and she got in a car accident, had amnesia, and so then whatever she was doing, doing what the doctor said, for 6 months she had no improvement. She's like, screw this, I'm a PhD game person, blah blah, I'm gonna make a game out of little milestones, little challenges to try to get back. And so sure enough, within a couple months, she not only got full you know, memories back, and what her full responsiveness, I think she was also paralyzed or whatever, or I don't know, she got full recovery. But the point is she got even better than how she was before. And so she mastered her body. She viewed everything as a little challenge, as a little game, and then whenever she was down or whatever, accomplishing that little game gave her a little boost. And so the whole premise of that book is that your attention and your mindset is like a spotlight. And so for PTSD and post-traumatic stress, or any addiction, or anything that is constantly in your brain that you can't escape, a trick is, and this is all from evidence that she's implemented to her, you know, she created a whole thing now where it's, you know, little boosts and challenges and this and that, whatever. But if you have a traumatic experience and then you shift your mindset from just thinking about that traumatic experience, especially right when it happens, and then you play a little game, literally a game like Tetris, or ideally a game that you have to learn the rules, complete and win within 2 minutes. Sure. Then you come back to address that traumatic experience. You're not gonna be overwhelmed from those emotions from that traumatic experience. You're gonna have a sense of a little boost for yourself, and revisit that experience with a more clarified mindset. And then that in the long run helps with flashbacks and revisiting that traumatic experience, because now you addressed it from a clarified mindset. You're not just overwhelmed with how to deal with it.
And that's what the problem is. I think the problem is sometimes it's too overwhelming. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's just like, you know, we learn this, right? The basic training. You know, how do you make it through basic training? Well, from chow to chow and Sunday to Sunday. You remember that, right? Yeah. Because it's like, if you get there day one after the yellow footprints, you're like, 3 months of this shit? You gotta be crazy. Like, hell no. But if you're like, all right, I made it to breakfast. I made it to lunch. Then make it to dinner, then make it to Sunday. Yeah. And keep doing that shit. True. And I see a lot of parallels with what you're talking about, you know, because it makes it, you know, consumable. Like it's bite sizes. It's not like, wow, I got to accomplish all of this. It's overwhelming. And also when you talk about the games and how it correlates to trauma, you know, it's interesting because I never heard of it put the way that you just did. But when we were in theater, we'd go in operation, and man, it was 2003, 2004. We were still figuring out the rules of how to fight in that kind of environment. We were never trained for that. We snooped and pooped through the wilderness. Now we're riding mechanized Humvees, completely changed our TTPs and everything we did. You know, everything. And they just dumped us there, and we'd have all this incredible stress when we get back home, back to base, and then it was just back out. We were out every day or every other day. We were out. We were not sitting on the base, and we get back home, and it would be this. This was it. We had Halo. All three. We had Halo in a little TV about this big.
Hell yeah.
With a little screen cut like this.
Right. 4 ways.
And brother, let me tell you something. And I, without reading the book that you read, I was like, this is somehow good, because we'll come out after all that stress. And I always got to look like I'm not scared. I'm always terrified, of course. You know, we were so vulnerable. We didn't even have armor back then. And we'd get back, clean our vehicles, clean our weapons, clean everything, and then we get into Halo and play Halo. And people go, oh, you're playing video games. Why are grown men? I'm like, you know why? Because when I'm in that game, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm not thinking about the ID. I'm not thinking about almost getting killed. I'm not thinking about how afraid I was when I was out of the wire. Because we don't admit it, but now I can. I'm 52 years old. I got nothing to be bright. Back then, that was crazy what we were doing. We were doing some crazy stuff like that. When I even stopped and think about what we were doing, like, that's insane. That was like suicide missions constantly, week after week. But we would go and play Halo, and we'd have our little tanks, and it was like a little universe where we escaped and we were invincible. And I would play with my team. I was annoying as hell. I was a team chief, and I would beat everybody. So it was like, this guy sucks. Like, you can't even talk shit to him. You know? But they could. We had a good time, and we still talk shit to this day. But yes, I can see how that has a lot of positive effects, and that should be more implemented. And that's why it's a key, critical part of Warfighter Sanctuary. I always wanted those games around. I wanted 10 Xboxes or PlayStations or whatever, 10 screens, because some of the best times I had wasn't sitting here. Now I have 65-inch TV screens. I got all the Xbox I want, and it's not the same. It's not as fun. Yeah. Back to Dalton. But then when I'm competing with my friends and they're people, we're talking trash, and we're in a zone, and we forget the rest of the universe exists. Right now, the only universe that exists is the guy that we're playing with. You know, that we're competing with, and there's something really, you know, really soothing about that, and it gets your mind off of all of that, you know. Yeah,
it gives you a little boost.
Gives you a break
to come and to allow you to deal with
Yeah.
whatever you're going on, whatever's going on in your life. And that's the same thing with jiu-jitsu too.
Let's get into jiu-jitsu. Perfect segment.
So jiu-jitsu, what I liked about jiu-jitsu is because you're on the mats fighting for your life.
Fighting for your life.
And so then you don't want this dude to break your arm or choke you out. It forces you to be in the present.
Yes.
And so
you can't be anywhere else
right
when you're on a mat.
Or else you get roped up.
You get roped up real quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what I gotta get after? What?
Right. And then after that experience, then you have that social connection with that person. You just shared that combat with somebody else. And so you have that connection with that person, even if you don't relate on any other way. So if you don't know how to talk to somebody, if you're not social or whatever, then you could still talk to that person about what just happened just now. And then that's your little boost for your day. So you have a social connection, you get joy from it, unless you're getting destroyed.
I was getting destroyed.
Yeah, no.
And I get joy. And that's what I was going to mention.
That's what hooked me. I was tapped out 17 times my first day, and I never loved it.
But I was going to say that it was like win or lose. Well, that's what I love about jiu-jitsu. Win or lose, I want to show up every day.
The thing about it too is it's such a physically demanding activity.
Yeah.
And so having that competition, also wanting to train and get better each day is, I think, important too, because then it prevented me from wanting to drink or smoke or do anything, because I'm training with top people in the world, and so they're all competitors, and so for me to even survive and then even want to get better, and then especially if I want to perform better at tournaments, then I can't drink, I can't do that stuff. And by having such strenuous activity, I don't want to fill my body with that stuff.
Exactly.
And so then it was a really clean, lifestyle.
Yeah.
And healthy. And that's why really I think it's the power of the hobby, a physically engaging, socially interactive hobby. That is important for somebody. And so if they can have something that's physically engaging, so you get that exhaustion, and when you want to fill your body with something, you don't want to fill it with alcohol or Coke or whatever. You want to fill it with something good that will improve your body, so that the next time you train, it'll be easier, or you can train harder, right? And so it could be yoga, it could be dancing, it could be whatever, but having those couple key things, the social interaction and the physically engaging activity, I think is important for that hobby.
And you call it a hobby, but previously we had the same discussion, and I would say it's more than that. I would say it's a lifestyle, because we talked about that. Like it's more than just a hobby, because this is part of your life. Like working out every day, that's a lifestyle. That's not a hobby for me. That's my life. Like, and it's not to look good. It's for my physical abilities to feel like a warrior, because I felt like a warrior when I was in the Corps.
Right.
Now you get older, you're breaking down, you have injuries. Well, why do you keep working out, Andre? I'm like, because I'm a warrior. That's what I am, and I got to do something every day. Like we were talking last week, to remind myself who I am.
Yeah. No, I use the term hobby just to keep it light.
Yeah.
I agree. If it became my lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's why I ran events, because I was like, I just want to do this.
Exactly.
When I saw it was benefiting me so much, and this goes into the VA, and I'll tie in the VA now, but it was the only thing that was really helping me.
Yeah.
I would fight a lot at the bars, coming out of the military.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really see any progress anywhere. Yeah. My only friends were veterans.
Yeah.
And then they were in the same boat as me.
Yeah.
And so one like
we're talking the same story, brother, and that's why we're building this, and that's why we're sitting here today, because we're trying to make it better and easier transition for the next guy.
Right.
Because you had a challenge, I had a challenge. Let's make it easier for the next guy.
So with the benefit of jiu-jitsu, I wanted to just do that 100%. So I was like, how do I make money doing this?
Okay.
Right. And so then I started these events, and then just tournaments and live streams, and that's how I got into the event grappling promotions. And then it was fun. It gave me a purpose. Dalton was a partner, and he actually came from Arizona to live with me. and he was going through very rough times. He was a heroin addict, and went 2 years
the war?
after. Yeah,
Oh my God.
He was at 2 years at ASU and then dropped out. And then, you know, he had that issue before, and that's part of the reason why he joined the Marines, is to that was his way to detox and get out of it, which worked for him, because he's just like, out, you know. You got to do what you got to do. In boot camp, I'd be up at night because I was, you know, one of the squad leaders or guides, whatever, and I'd see him washing his sheets almost every night because he'd piss the bed from the what do you call it, detox.
Okay, wow.
And so because he was on it hard, you know, before, and so but anyways, he got through that, and then unfortunately, you know, coming out and with the transition from the military, when you scatter across, you're not with your platoon anymore. You don't have that mission. You're off on your own with your own demons. You know, that kind of creeps up on you. So coming to Miami and living with me, I threw him into jiu-jitsu. I was like, this is what worked for me. I know you're gonna we always grappled in the Marines. It was always a fight.
I was a McBap instructor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it was different than jiu-jitsu. I thought it was good until I got to the
No, he would just fight me. Like, I'd be drinking a beer, he'd punch me in the face. And so then we'd start fighting. And that was like a running thing, you know? Because we'd usually drink 240s, that was perfect. 340s, we're fighting, you know? Like 40-ounce beers. And so then we'd fight on the rocks, you know. This is 29 palms. And then I'd always choke him out. So it was a running joke. Like, for 10 years, he couldn't beat me, you know? And so, so I was like, bro, you need to get into jiu-jitsu. And he was smoking. I was like, fuck that shit, you're not gonna want it. So he came over, lived with me, started training jiu-jitsu. We're doing these events, stopped smoking, stopped really drinking, and then it gave him that boost to love life again.
Awesome.
And see, okay, I can have control over my life again, you know. And unfortunately, he was dealing with some, you know, legal problem. He had to go back to Arizona, and then from there he found a gym. And he was good for a while, training, but then I think he got injured, and so then now he's got nobody, he's not training, and he's in his place by himself, and I don't know, it was, you know, certain, you know, times of his life. It was around Christmas, and it was a rough time. His father passed away around the same
Christmas
time.
Too? It was around,
and then at that time is always kind of a sad time, and so I think he wanted, you know, another, like, one last, like a last thing, and then he, you know, unfortunately passed away from overdose. Oh man. Yeah, so it was like so it was a shock for sure.
And when was this?
This is 2 years ago. January 23rd. Wow. So it's coming up, and my son now last year was born January 22nd. Oh, wow. And so and he was supposed to come visit, you know, for the holidays and stuff like that. But that all, like, you know, goes back into why I think I want to, you know, and create this Badger platform to digitize everything, because my experience was similar when I was injured or wasn't training. Then I'd start going off again, and I would do one-on-one therapies at the VA with psychologists, and just turns out that psychologist was a judo black belt badass. Nice. And was as a private destroying everybody in like he competed for the actual army. Nice. And he said the problem was the higher ups didn't like that he was destroying everybody, and he's a private. And so then, but it was a problem. So he kind of turned him off of judo and competing with the army. I think it was the army. But anyway, so he understood the jiu-jitsu and the you know, benefits of it. So he always pushed it for me instead of doing types of you know, anger management therapy, which I did. And there's a couple things from it, but it just annoyed me after a while dealing with the group. And so the one-on-one was nice. My point is having something sometimes you get injured. Sometimes it's too far to go someplace, to go train jiu-jitsu, or you have a gi and then you have to watch this or do that or whatever. If there's something that you can do quick, that's a tool to get your mind into the present, off of whatever, and then have a sense of accomplishment, that's the mission. And so that's what Badger's all about, is that and then is that gamification, allowing you to get into the present moment and live with joy and purpose and social connection.
That wraps up another episode of Warfighter Sanctuary. Thank you for listening. For more information on Vetranet and the businesses featured in this podcast, be sure to check out our website at vetranet.com. That's www.Victor Echo Tango Romeo Echo November Echo Tango.com. Become a Patreon subscriber and get VIP access to the Blue Falcon Show, where we continue the interview with their unfiltered thoughts on a range of topics. Some serious, some trivial, always entertaining. Like and follow our Facebook page to join the community at facebook.com/groups/Vetranet. Intro music provided by Army veteran Sabo of NSA Entertainment. Post-show music provided by Marine veteran Justin Martin of JLM Entertainment. Voiceover provided by Marine veteran Mark Denstead of voicedbymark.com. Until next time, remember, hiring a veteran is thanking a veteran. Thank you for your support.